the Lord is blowing the conch shell to pacify the devotees. They were in such long separation from the Lord. Srila Prabhupada said they were in melancholy. And the example is like at night, it's pitch dark in the night. And as soon as you see light in the morning, it's as if you're getting your life back. Of course, now we have electricity, so we don't realize the darkness of the night so much. But you can imagine, night means it's just dark. And when it is dark, there is fear. And when Krishna comes, even before Krishna actually appeared, just the light or the sound of his conch shell, which was heralding his entrance into Dwaraka, that gave life to all the residents. And immediately they all got together and they ran to Krishna. And they came with so many presentations, so many gifts for Krishna. And it's like children. We have this experience ourselves when we were children, or if we are parents with our children. When the father comes back from work in the evening, children, they're very happy because of long separation. Yes, small children, they just come running. And what to speak of the fathers also, traditionally I've seen my father-in-law, I heard that it had been his practice throughout his life, even when he was a young man, he would never come home empty-handed. He will bring some sweetmeats for the children. Every day he will buy something and he will come. And the children are just eager. In ISKCON, we have experience of Srila Prabhupada. Whenever Srila Prabhupada came to any temple, how was it for all the devotees? We see the videos. How do you just look at the faces of the devotees, even the pictures? It's like life for them, is it not? They just come and they're just, it's as if they're drinking up, the nectar with their eyes. They're just looking at Srila Prabhupada. It's similar, isn't it? Because Krishna, that's the feeling of the Dwarkavasis when they see Krishna. It's like small children running to the father and they were literally like small children, expressing their affection, their joy on seeing Krishna after a long separation, giving him so many gifts. And then now they're offering prayers to Krishna. So yesterday we read in text 6, what did they say, the citizens? This is also very, you will see, the devotees, they offer their appreciation or they express their love through offering prayers to Krishna. Practically, you will see throughout Srimad Bhagavatam, whenever there is a devotee's, some pastime comes, there will be a prayer by that devotee to the Supreme Lord. You start from the beginning and you see Kunti Maharani offering prayers to the Lord. You see the Prachetas are offering prayers. Dhruva Maharaj is offering prayers. Prahlad Maharaj is offering prayers, like that. So they come what do we do? When the darshan opens in the morning, Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. And we are glorifying Krishna. Brahma Samhita is what? The prayers of Lord Brahma. Like that. So this is how we welcome Krishna. When we see Krishna, we express our gratitude, we express our happiness, our joy on seeing Krishna by offering prayers to Krishna. So the Dwaraka Vasis are also praying to the Lord. What are they saying? Oh Lord, you are worshipped by all demigods like Brahma, the 4 Sanas, means the 4 Kumaras, and even the King of Heaven, Indra. You are the ultimate rest for those who are really aspiring to achieve the highest benefit of life. You are the supreme transcendental Lord, and inevitable time cannot exert its influence upon you. And then today's verse is, O Creator of the universe, you are our mother well-wisher, Lord, Father, spiritual master, and worshipable deity. In other words, like our Vaishnava Acharyas say, Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Dhana Pran. He is everything. He is my father, he is my mother, he is my wealth, he is my life, he is my everything. This is what the Dwarkavasis are saying. If you look at the Sanskrit, they say, Bhavaya Nastvam Bhava Vishwa Bhavana. So Vishwa Bhavana means you are the creator of the universe. Vishwa Bhavana, you are the creator of the universe. And Tvam Eva Mata, you are my only mother. Atha Suhrit, you are my best friend. You are my best well-wisher, like Srila Prabhupada would sign, your ever well-wisher, right? Like that. So Krishna is our best friend. The Dwarkavasis are saying, you are my only well-wisher. You are my best well-wisher. You are my only mother. Pati, you are my husband. Pita, you are my father. Sadguru, you are my spiritual master. And Paramam cha Daivatam, you are my supreme worshipable deity. This is the prayer of the Dwarkavasis. By following in your footsteps, we have become successful in every respect. So, are we losers? By making Krishna my father, my mother, my spiritual master, my everything. So, this is Ananya. Ananya Bhakti means, so there are different words, terms used for Ananya Bhakti. Ananya. Anya means others. Ananya means no one else. Only Krishna. Ananya means not that I will also worship Krishna and I will worship my father, my mother, my ancestor. I will worship, this demigod and my family deity and Krishna also. That's not called Ananya Bhakti. Ananya means only Krishna. And even if you are, why? That also Srila Prabhupada explains. Because when you worship Krishna, Krishna includes everyone. So there is no question of excluding anyone. It's not like that. When you're worshipping Krishna, it's not that you're excluding anyone. It is understood that everyone is included when I'm worshipping Krishna. So therefore, I'm not a loser. I'm not missing out on anything when I worship Krishna. It's not that when I worship Krishna, then I won't get material prosperity. I will have to forego material prosperity, or I will have to forego this or that, right? Family affection. It's not like that. Srila Prabhupada said, I gave up 5 children, right? He gave up one family or 5 children or 3 children at that time. So Prabhupada said, Krishna has given me 5,500 children. And I couldn't expect this type of love from my own children. So when we surrender our lives to Krishna, we are not losers. We don't lose anything. By following in your footsteps, we have become successful in every respect. The Dwarkavasis are saying. First, they are saying that you are our everything. We don't have anyone but you. You are my mother, father, husband. You are my guru. You are my worshipable deity. I don't have anyone except you. And by accepting you as my everything, I have not lost anything. Or all the Dwarkavasis are saying, we have not lost anything. We have become, on the contrary, we have become successful in every respect. We pray, therefore, that you continue to bless us with your mercy. That means our only asset is your mercy. We don't have anything in life except your mercy. So please continue to bless us with your mercy. That's the prayer of the Dwarkavasis. So let's see what Srila Prabhupada is saying in the purport. The all good personality of Godhead. He is all good. That's why he's absolute. Absolute means there cannot be anything bad in him. Even the apparent, bad actually is not bad. Just like if he's stealing butter, stealing is bad, isn't it, in the material calculation? But when Krishna steals, it's not bad because Krishna is stealing. He is all good. Whatever he does, it is all good. It cannot be bad. He is the all good personality of Godhead. Another way we can understand this is anything that you get from the Supreme Lord is all auspicious. Even material benedictions that you get from the Lord, they're all auspicious. We can understand with examples. Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and let's say Hiranyakashipu, they worshipped the demigods. They performed tapasya to please Lord Shiva, to please Lord Brahma. Hiranyakashipu performed tapasya to please Lord Brahma. He wanted to become the Lord of the universe. He wanted to control the whole universe. He got that. But was that benediction auspicious for him? What is the result of his benediction? What is the result of his worshipping a demigod? And what is the consequence of getting that benediction from the demigod? He had a miserable death, and he tortured all the people by getting that result, that fruit from his worship of the demigod. He became so puffed up. So was that fruit auspicious for him? That is the question. By worshipping the demigod, whatever he got, was it auspicious for him? It was not auspicious for him. It was not auspicious for him. Same with Ravana. He got the golden city, Lanka. He got the airplane. What did he do after getting all that? He went after others' wives. He practically went all over the universe, terrorizing everyone, raping women in the heavenly planets, everywhere. But what happened to him finally? Yeah, nobody, people became happy when he died. Same thing with Hiranyakashipu. All the demigods, all the inhabitants of the universe were pleased that finally he's dead. So when we worship the demigods, yes, we get some results. Or when I say demigods, either demigods or you take some powerful person in this world, right? We flatter some politicians or our boss or managers. By that, we try to get some results in this world. But those results are not auspicious. Those results will only give us more pain in future. Whereas, even if you want some material benediction, if you approach the Supreme Lord, can you give an example where someone approached the Supreme Lord for a material result? Anyone who approached the Supreme Lord to get a material result. And from Bhagavatam, Dhruva Maharaj, yes, Dhruva Maharaj wanted a kingdom greater than his fathers or grandfathers, and he got it from the Supreme Lord. Was that benediction inauspicious for him? No. Although he approached the Supreme Lord for getting a material benediction, still he got bhakti in the end. He got bhakti in the end. So therefore, even akama sarva kamova moksha kama udaradhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Akama means you have no material desires. You simply want bhakti. You want to please the Lord. No material desire. Sarva kama, you are full of material desires. Moksha kama, you want liberation. You're disgusted with this world. In whichever case, you may fall in any of these three categories. You are a devotee, you have no material desires, or you are full of material desires, or you're disgusted with this material world and material desires, and you want liberation from this world. If you want perfection, if you want your desired goal, what should you do? You should worship Purusham Param, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How? Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. Tivra means intense. With intense devotion, you should worship the Supreme Lord. So, nobody is disqualified from worshipping the Supreme Lord. Just worship the Supreme Lord, even if you have material desires, or if you have no material desires, or if you are desiring liberation. Under all circumstances, you worship the Supreme Lord. And yes, when you worship the Supreme Lord, is it that the Lord is not going to give me, if I have material desires, he won't give me material results? In yesterday's purport, I believe, or maybe, yeah, in yesterday's purport, we read that, or maybe it was on Tuesday, yeah, it was text 3. So the Lord fulfills the desires of the devotee. He fulfills the desires of the devotee. Or I think it was yesterday's, correct. And Prabhuji was saying about, he's like the father. The Lord is the father. So the children, the obedient sons, can go and ask things from the father. They can demand. They can say, Father, I want this. I want a new laptop, or I want a watch, or I want this. You can demand. If you are an obedient son, that relationship is already there, and the Lord will fulfill your desire, as long as it is not going to harm you. If the father sees that this is detrimental to your progress, then he may not give it. But he can also give it if he wants to give something. If you're asking for something which is not dangerous for you, he will give it also. So first it is important to establish that relationship with the Lord. How do we establish our relationship with the Supreme Lord? Of course, the relationship is already there. It's not that you have to start a new relationship. We have to awaken that relationship. Yes? So what is the way to do that? So Srila Prabhupada is saying, the good living beings, so the Lord being the Supreme Father, the Supreme Creator, his plan is for the good of all living beings. He wants everyone to be happy. Sarve sukhino bhavantu. He wants to see everyone happy. That is his desire, because he's all good. He wants only good for everyone. And what is the way? What is his plan? He advises everyone to follow his good advice. So those who are good living beings, those who are good sons, they will accept the advice of the Lord. And by accepting it and following his advice, they become successful in all spheres of life. So even in material life, if you want success in material life, you achieve that also. You don't have to separately go and try to get material results through material means. You should be convinced that if I simply serve the Supreme Lord, if I please the Supreme Lord, all my material needs will also be taken care of. I don't have to worry separately for that. But of course, here the condition is you have to actually take shelter of the Lord. You have to take, that means you're depending completely on the Lord. Not that, oh, you think he'll actually help me? How will, that means we still don't have faith. So for those who don't have that faith, then yes, you have to do karma. But if you have full faith, he will take care of me, no doubt. You may have this experience. I don't know. I have, sometimes, like I have this, when I was a small child, an elder person, maybe like my uncle or like an older brother, they would put me on a high platform, make me sit on a high platform, and they would say, you jump, I will catch you. And I'm afraid, yes, he's going to catch me, but still I need to have that faith that he'll be able to catch me. Before jumping, I have that fear. What if they fail to catch me? I'll fall, right? So even if I'm not thinking that much, that fear, that means I don't have faith. I don't have full faith. Whereas someone who has full faith, like Prahlad Maharaj, even he's not jumping, somebody's throwing him off the cliff, but he has full confidence. He's just depending on the Supreme Lord, and the Lord is there to catch him. They threw Prahlad Maharaj from the mountain, and the Lord held him because he had that full faith. My Lord will protect me. And when we have that type of faith, it's said that when we take one step towards the Lord takes 10 steps towards us. He comes to protect us, to save us. So there's no question that he will not protect us. The only thing is we don't have that faith, so we are not able to jump. So it's okay. If we don't have that faith, then we should gradually cultivate that faith, simultaneously doing some karma, some work, and giving the result of that work to the Lord. That way also we can cultivate bhakti. But the point is, if someone has that type of faith, he won't be a loser. He won't be a loser under any circumstances. They become successful in all spheres of life. There's no need to worship any deity. This is very important. But the Lord, as I was telling you, Ananya Bhakti. Ananya Bhakti means only Krishna. Ekale Krishna, Are Sabha Bhritya. Only master is Krishna. Everyone else is a servant. The only master is Krishna. So we have some quotes from Srimad Bhagavatam that show us how when somebody is worshipping the Supreme Lord, he is not required to worship the demigods or the forefathers, because we have some traditions in the family, isn't it? So we may feel obliged, oh, I've been doing all this for all this while. If I don't do, then I'm committing some offense, right? At least you should have that clarification in your heart. What you do to satisfy the family members and society, that's another thing. Even great kings who are actually pure devotees, Ananya Bhaktas, they also, like Yudhishthir Maharaj, Bharat Maharaj, King Nabhi, they were performing yagyas, and yagya means it's karma kanda. They were doing karma kanda yagyas, not because they felt the need to do that, just to set example. This is called Loka Sangrahartham. Loka Sangrahartham means simply to set an example for the society, because the society is not yet qualified to do Ananya Bhakti. They don't have that type of faith. So therefore, it's just like, if you're teaching a kindergartner, then you come down to their level, and then you try to, count in different ways to teach them the numbers, like that. Not that you don't know the numbers yourself. So similarly, somebody who's on a very high platform, a Mahabhagavad devotee, he will also act like Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada would chant 16 rounds. You think Srila Prabhupada is thinking like us, that I chanted my 16 rounds and that's it, right? Now Srila Prabhupada, he's actually setting an example to the devotees that you should take it very seriously. So very meticulously he would pull the beads. And when he would pull the last bead, my Guru Maharaj was there. His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj was there. Maharaj said that once in those days, they didn't have counters. They would make their own counter beads. They would even make their own japa beads in the initial days. There was nobody going to India and bringing them tulsi malas. So they would get some wood, and they would just make their own beads, japa beads. And they would make them, and then after they get initiation, they start chanting on those beads. But they would make this. So it's not like today that for every japa bag, you have one counter bead. I remember in the early days, even I had just one counter bead. So even if I had more bags, I would have to take this counter, and when I wash my japa bag, I would have to remove this and tie it to the next japa bag. It's not like I had so many counter beads. Nowadays, we have plenty. And we know how to make our own counter beads with so many different types of, decorative beads. We do it. But back then they didn't have. So somehow my Guru Maharaj, he lost his counter beads. He didn't have them. So then it was hard to keep track of 16 rounds. So he would write down or something like that. And also he had a very busy schedule. He would be up all night, and, he was a pujari and all that. So he didn't have the counter beads. So Srila Prabhupada Maharaj was sitting in front of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was chanting, and every time he would pull down a bead, he would look at Maharaj. And the last bead he pulled down, and he looked at Maharaj. So Maharaj got this message, and he said, of course, there's also this, that after pulling that down, Srila Prabhupada said, now I can do any nonsense, right? I can do, I forget the exact, if anyone remembers, any damn thing. Now I can do any damn thing. I've done my 16 rounds. So, of course, that is kind of a, sarcasm. It's not that, oh, I've done my 16 rounds, now I can do whatever nonsense. But still, Srila Prabhupada was emphasizing on those 16 rounds. He didn't need to do 16 rounds. He was doing far more than that. But because for us, it was a big thing to complete 16 rounds, he was showing us by his example, chant 16 rounds, complete these 16 rounds very carefully, right? So my point here is, even someone who's on a very high level, he comes down to the level of a neophyte just to teach him, to set an example for him. So that's why we see even great Mahabhagavad devotees, especially those who are kings, emperors, they are performing some karma kanda. So karma kanda means it involves worshipping different demigods. So should we think that worshipping of demigods is important? So such great Mahabhagavatas, they are also worshipping demigods. So there's nothing wrong. We should also worship demigods? No. The Lord is fully competent to bestow all the benedictions that we need, whether material or spiritual. We don't need to worship any deity save and except the Lord. The Lord is all powerful. And if he is satisfied by our obedience to his lotus feet. So all we have to do is satisfy him by our obedience to his lotus. How do you show your obedience to the Supreme Lord? Follow his advice. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is giving so many instructions, direct instructions. Can any of you give me a few examples where Krishna is directly giving an instruction? I can give you some. Yeah. Achha, you're saying Bhagavad Gita itself. I'm saying inside Bhagavad Gita, the verses. Give me one example of a verse where Krishna is directly giving instruction. You do this or you don't do this. I'll give you one. Krishna is saying 2:14. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkada. Agama paino nityas tam stitikshasva bharata. Krishna is saying happiness and distress are like winter and summer seasons. They come and they go. You should not get disturbed by this. What should you do? You should tolerate them. This is an instruction. When happiness or distress come in life, tolerate them. This is Krishna's instruction. Can you tell me another instruction that Krishna gave? Bhagavad Gita or anywhere.
Yeah. There's lots of them. I don't know if there's ones I don't know if you have in mind.
No, Prabhuji, I don't have any in mind. You can tell anyone. Yeah.
I was just thinking the 4th chapter, at the end of the 4th chapter, Krishna tells, he says, the doubts that have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed with the weapon of knowledge.
Yes.
Armed with yoga, stand and fight.
Exactly. Stand and fight. Armed with yoga, stand and fight. You cut these, these doubts with the weapon of knowledge, and then you do your duty. You stand and you fight. That's an instruction. So you get so many doubts. How do you remove those doubts? With transcendental knowledge, and then you perform your duty. And the most famous, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. Yes? Krishna said, just surrender unto me. Tell me what it is. Very good. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Right? Mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijani priyasime. You always think of me. You become my devotee. You worship me. You offer obeisances to me. This is Krishna's instruction. And apart from Krishna's direct instructions, whatever we hear in the scriptures, statements of the scriptures, the do's and do nots, the Vedas are also coming directly from the Supreme Lord. So when we follow scriptural injunctions, then we are being obedient to the Supreme Lord. And if we are directly taking Krishna's instructions in Bhagavad Gita, what's better than that? So a good son or a good living being will accept Krishna's instructions. And for such a devotee, there is no failure. He will meet with success in every field, material world and spiritual world. There is no loss. Neha Vikrama Nashosti Pratyavayo na Vidyate. Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even a little endeavor for what? Little endeavor on this path means following Krishna's advice. Even if we make a slight move in that direction of being obedient to Krishna, then we will be saved from the greatest fear. So, for attaining spiritual existence, the human form is a chance for all to understand our eternal relation with God. Yes. So, just on this point, that we don't need to worship anyone else. If we simply worship the Supreme Lord, all our desires are fulfilled. And don't have any doubts that maybe they will become offended. They won't become offended. Another example is, let's say you're inviting one family for a wedding or for a program. Let's say today we have this the summer picnic, yes, Sunday school picnic. So let's say invitations were sent out. So the invitation will simply be with the name of the head of the family, isn't it? And it is understood when you send it in the name of the head of the family, then wife, children, father, mother, everyone is included there. Is it not? The whole family is invited. When you send it in the name of the head, that means it includes the whole family. You don't have to separately invite, let's say, my 8-year-old daughter's name and of course, this is a kids program. You can also give names of the children. But generally, when there is an invitation, simply the head of the family's name is written and it's understood the whole family will come. So Krishna is the creator of the whole universe. He's the head of the family. If you worship Krishna, automatically everyone else is worshipped. You don't have to separately worship each one. That's the point. In fact, it actually becomes a flaw. It becomes a fault if you worship the others also after worshipping Krishna. Did you know that? That's pretty interesting, isn't it? You worship Krishna and then you go and worship the demigod. The fault is that of redundancy. If you're repeating it again, it becomes redundant, and that's a fault. It's something like, just think, I have served you a plate of breakfast and you have eaten, and then I come with another plate of the same prasad in front of you as if I'm offering for the first time. Will you be able to eat that prasad again? You had a full, nice meal. I served you, you ate it. And then I come with another fresh plate with the same items as if I'm offering it for the first time. It's a repetition. It's a fault. You're already satisfied. You understand? So therefore, if I'm offering to Krishna, automatically all the demigods have accepted it because they are in the family. He includes everyone. Nothing is out. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattaha sarvam pravartate. Everything is coming from Krishna, material spiritual world. So when you worship Krishna, worship of Lord Shiva, worship of Durga Devi, worship of Ganesha, worship of father, mother, ancestors, everything is included in that. So after worshipping Krishna, if you feel obliged that I should also after, let me first off, like Nanda Maharaj, he wanted to worship Indra, isn't it? Not required. That's what Krishna said. No, you worship Govardhan because Govardhan is Krishna. Sufficient. You don't have to again go and worship in Lord Indra. Not required. It's not required. In fact, if you do, it's a repetition. It's a fault. You should not do it. You should not do it. So so how, if anyone has any questions about that, we have some quotes from Srimad Bhagavatam. The Prachetas are praying to the Supreme Lord. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, text 31, text 4, 4:31:14. 4:31:14, text 14. Yatha tarormula nishechanena tripyanti tatskandha bhujopashakha pranopahara chayatendriyanam tathaiva sarvarhanamat achyuteja. The translation is, as pouring water on the root of a tree energizes the trunk, branches, twigs, and everything else, and as supplying food to the stomach enlivens the senses and limbs of the body, simply worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead through devotional service automatically satisfies the demigods who are parts of that Supreme Personality. So we shouldn't have any doubts or any questions that if after worshipping Krishna, I should also do this. No, no. Everyone, the whole world becomes satisfied. Everyone becomes satisfied with us. You're not required. You're not expected. You're free from that debt. Otherwise, we are actually in debt. If we don't take to bhakti, if we don't worship Krishna, we are in debt. We are taking air, we are taking water. We are not paying for these things. They are given as free gifts to us. But nothing is free in this world. Is it not? Nothing is free. If you take something from someone, then you become obliged. You have to give something in return. Therefore, the karma kanda process is you have to express your gratitude to your forefathers, to the demigods, to Mother Earth, then to the king, like that. To the trees, they give you shade, to the sun. So we become indebted to everyone because we are using the resources, we are enjoying them. But if you serve the root, if you satisfy Krishna, then because everyone else is in Krishna, they're all satisfied. You become free from debt. You're not a debtor anymore if you worship Krishna. You can rest assured about that. Now, another question is, what if after coming to bhakti, then after some days I fall down? That means I'm not continuing with bhakti. Then I'll become sinful. Because when I come to bhakti, I give up worship of all the demigods and ancestors and everything else. But somehow in my immaturity, I fall down from bhakti. Then I'll get the sinful reaction for giving up all that. In order to come to bhakti, I gave up all my duties, isn't it? And now I gave up bhakti also. So now all those sinful reactions will come back to me. Is it like that? No, they won't come back to you. So here, Vyasdev is telling Narad Muni is telling Vyasdev in the 5th chapter, 1.5.17. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.17. Tyaktva swadharmam charanam bhujam harer bhajanna pakvotha patet tato yadi yatra kvava bhadram abhudamushya kim ko vartha apto bhajatam swadharmataha. One who has forsaken his material occupations to engage in the devotional service of the Lord may sometimes fall down while in an immature stage. So we see that, don't we? Devotees come and they join, but after some time they go back to their old ways. But there is good news. What is that? Even if they fall down, yet there is no danger of his being unsuccessful. On the other hand, a non-devotee, though fully engaged in occupational duties, does not gain anything. So what do we understand here? Somebody has not taken to bhakti, somebody has not taken shelter of the Supreme Lord completely, but he is doing his duties very nicely in this world. Even if he is doing his Vedic duties nicely, Varnashram system, such a person is not superior, he is not greater than somebody who takes to bhakti and falls down. A fallen devotee is better than a pakka karmi. Somebody who is doing his duties very nicely in this world, a very pious person, no sinful activity, he is still lesser than a devotee who takes to bhakti and then he falls down. Just understand how glorious is bhakti. So in this context, Bharat Maharaj's example is given. Bharat Maharaj, he is a pure unalloyed devotee. Not after he left home and he went into the forest. No, he was a pure unalloyed devotee even when he was the king. And as I was telling you earlier, he was performing karma kanda, yagyas and all that, but his consciousness was always clear. On his lips were always, he was always chanting the names of the Lord 24/7. Even in his sleep, he was chanting the names of the Lord. In fact, he wouldn't utter any words which is not the names of the Lord. This is how he was as a grihastha. He was already on the platform of Ananya Bhakti. And then finally, he took Vanprasth, he left home, he went to the forest. And somehow he fell. Fell means he got attracted to this deer, and as a result of that attraction, he gave up his practices of bhakti. So now, should we consider, see, he fell down. Instead of that, if he had been a good king and done his duty as a kshatriya, it would have been better. Some people can point out their fingers. See, after all this, he just became a deer. He became an animal after doing so much bhakti. Was that actually a fall down? It was not. You know why? Because even after he fell down, his bhakti was not taken away from him. Even in the body of a deer, he was constantly Krishna conscious. And when he got another body as Jad Bharat, he was completely Krishna conscious. He was on a Mahabhagavat platform. So there was no fall down. So even when someone takes to bhakti temporarily, it may seem like he has gone away from Krishna consciousness, but he's never lost completely. He's never lost completely. It is all auspicious. Therefore, devotees try to somehow or other connect, right? Give them one gulab jamun, or like make them, trick them to chant the names of the Lord, say Gauranga or say Hare Krishna, something like that. Make them touch the book so that you start their bhakti somehow or other, like that. Because bhakti is very, very powerful. So one way or the other, anyone who takes shelter of Krishna, he's never a loser. That is the point. And this human form is the only chance. See, Bharat Maharaj became a deer, but still he had to take another body as a human, because it is only possible in the human form of body to, it's the most suitable body to perform bhakti. Imagine if you have to perform Archana, how will a deer perform? Aarti and all. Cannot do that, right? So the human form of body is very suitable. It's most suitable. And not even demigod body. That's also not suitable, because that body is made for enjoyment. And even the lower forms of body, animals or even below, right? Asura's body, they're also not suitable, because they are meant for yatana, for going through, for suffering. So in those bodies, you cannot. The best, most suitable body is human form of body. Therefore, preaching is done in the human society, because this is the opportunity for us to once again get back to our original position. And finally, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying, our relationship with the Lord is eternal. Temporarily, it's forgotten. It may be forgotten for the time being. Why it's forgotten? Because of the influence of material energy, yes. But how I fell down, that's not important. Prabhupada gives that examples. When someone falls in the river, if the man is asking, somebody comes to pull him up, and if he's saying, can you tell me how I fell here first? Forget about how you fell. First, come out of that situation, and then you can think about how you fell down. Somebody is offering help, just come out of it. So for whatever reason we fell in this material situation, now our concern is to get back to our original position, and it can be revived by the grace of the Lord if we follow his injunction. That's the whole lesson. If we follow his injunction, and how we know what is his injunction? From the scriptures, from just Bhagavad Gita, just take one Bhagavad Gita, follow the instructions of Krishna, our life will become perfect. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. I really appreciate all of you joining today, because, I know there are so many other things happening, but still you have come, of course, for Srimad Bhagavatam and also to encourage me. So I'm grateful to you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mother Archana Bhakti, Mataji. And for anybody who, who have missed this class that usually attends, these classes are recorded and put on our ISKCON Philadelphia YouTube channel, so they can take a look later and hear the class. It also made me think that our classes are, these morning classes are very instructional, and the points you were going over today, so many of the speakers throughout the week, the foundations of understanding the principles of bhakti and how we practice it. I mean, these morning classes are very important in our training and understanding. So thank you so much for that. A question about the mother and father. And they say you are the father, you're also the mother. Of course, they say Guru, Supreme Lord. We can understand how maybe Father, Supreme Lord, Guru. I guess you can even say Mother, Supreme Lord, Guru, because they're not. They could tie together, but when you hear that you are both father and mother, I'm trying to understand that, because they also hear that in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's song, Krishna
Yes.
Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Dana Pran. You are my father, you are my mother, you are my everything.
Yeah.
So what are they trying to say when you're both my father and my mother?
Yeah, I mean, I would think in simple, like just putting myself in that situation, I would think, who are the dearest, what do we count on when we are in difficulty? We go to the mother, right? And father. They're usually, if you see, they're the closest people, father and mother for children. In at least in the initial stages of life, but in Vedic culture throughout their life, you will see. So of course, mother has her role, father has his role. Mother is the one who is, nursing, and who is, the soft side, who's affectionate, and then the father is providing. So you are my father, you're my mother means all my needs are fulfilled through you. It's not that I need someone outside of you. So when these different roles are mentioned, I would look at what are the contributions of these different roles. What is a mother's contribution in a person's life? What is a father's contribution in a person's life? What is a husband's contribution? And what is a guru's contribution? Like that. So all these roles can be fulfilled by Krishna. So then if you say, what is your mother's contribution? Children, they feel they're more, that's how it is traditionally. Children are more, they're free with the mother, right? Even if they want something, they will first tell the mother, and the mother will go and tell the father. So they have that intimacy, that freedom with the mother. With father, it's more, there is that respect aspect, right? Like guru and disciple, there's that respect. But with mother, it's very intimate. So all, you are my everything. You're my mother also, you're my father also. You're maintaining me, you're giving me everything, but also you're my closest person, like a mother, and you are feeding me, everything. I don't need anyone outside of you. That's how I would look at it, Prabhuji. I don't know if that.
That definitely helps. Thank you.
Yeah. Of course, I think you're thinking in terms of Prakriti, right? When you say mother, you would talk about mother nature. So that's a different angle. But Srila Prabhupada said, Srimati Radharani, right? Srimati Radharani, my mother Radharani, please recommend me to Krishna. You put a flower in the hand of Srimati Radharani and she offers it to Krishna, because father, right? Supreme father. But who is Srimati Radharani? She is also Krishna's internal energy. She's part of Krishna. She's not outside of Krishna. So you are my mother also. Like that also we can say. Okay. Yes, Kalpesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Mataji, Hare Krishna. So
I just want to ask you about, as you said, like if we worship the Krishna and we worship again, that's, like
repetition.
repetition.
Yes. Yeah.
So can we worship the other deities in the mood that, okay, give me more bhakti to Krishna? In that mood.
You can do. Like, so then there it is, see, when you're worshipping them, then it is like a spiritual master. We worship the spiritual master, don't we? We do Aarti to Krishna and we do Aarti to spiritual master also. Why? Because spiritual master is guiding me to Krishna, like that. So these three, if I don't know if you were there the other day on Wednesday, when Kalpesh Prabhu had asked this question about worshipping demigods. So there our Acharya explains, Srila Jiva Goswami explains in three ways. It's okay. That is, Okay means if it is required, and actually it's not required, but for some reason, if you have to worship the demigods, then you can worship them in these three ways. The demigod is a limb of the Supreme Lord, just like the sun and moon, they are the eyes of the Supreme Lord. Um, and like that. So they are the limbs of the Supreme Lord. And Lord Ganesha, he is a limb of the Supreme Lord who removes the obstacles on the path of bhakti, like that. So when there is Ganesh Chaturthi in India, they celebrate on a large scale, big deities of Lord Ganesha. So what will you do if you're around? Will you just pretend like you're not seeing anything and just walk away from there? No, you can go, you offer your obeisances. And if I were there, I did also once. I would just recite Brahma Samhita, that particular shloka, which is actually glorifying Lord Ganesha as a limb of the Supreme Lord, as a devotee of the Supreme Lord. And Lord Ganesh is very happy when you do that. He's not unhappy. He's very happy. He's more happy when someone worships him as a devotee of the Supreme Lord than someone who's worshipping him as his all in all. No, he's more happy like that. So you are asking, can you pray to him to help you uh, in progress in your bhakti to Krishna? Certainly you can pray. There's nothing wrong with that. So one is as a limb, second is as a sitting place. Sitting place means like an asan, like the Lord's is seated on asan, right? A singhasan. Like that, the body of the demigod is asan, sitting place for the Supreme Lord. So when you're seeing the deity, you're actually seeing the Supreme Lord present in the heart of that deity. And you're offering obeisances. You're even chanting mantras directly to the Supreme Lord. So you can be standing in front of Lord Ganesh and you can be singing, Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So that's not that you're saying he is Govinda. You're seeing Govinda in the heart of Lord Ganesha. Like that. That's fine also. And the third one is, as you said, right, as a spiritual master. He's a guru. Because the demigods, they're devotees. Not all of them, but some of them are great Vaishnavas, like Lord Shiva, Lord Ganesha. They're all Vaishnavas. Durga Devi, they're great devotees of the Supreme Lord. So you can worship them as a guru, just like when a great devotee comes to the temple, don't we go and bow down before them? Don't we offer them gifts, flowers, right? So like that. So similarly, you worship them as a guru who will help me to serve Krishna better. Please teach me how to progress in bhakti. That is bona fide. Nothing wrong with that.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I have also one question.
Yes.
Since we always see that we want to worship the Supreme Godhead, and we see that we wanted to evaluate that because we all the things we do through our mind and senses, and based on the collected information what we have, but how do we really measure that? I can say it, how do I measure that? Like, okay, Lord is enjoying it, Lord is controlling it, and he's the proprietary. When we have a scenario like a let's say person A is it's a devotee of is Krishna, and but he doesn't read Bhagavad Gita, and but he goes to the temple. That is one of the person A quality. Person B say, no, Krishna is not a god. No, he is not a god. Okay, so he is not the god. God is somebody else, right? So that's the person B, and person C is the totally atheist kind of thing, right? So I mean, you can grade it different ways, different types of beliefs people have between the different scenarios. Now the question is, we being want to be a pure devotee, we want to practice the bhakti devotion to the fullest, to our own strength, and follow, as you said in the today's discourse, is follow the Lord good advice, follow the instruction, right? So knowing that instruction, like what Bhagavad Gita should be completely absorbed into you, and we are we are like surrender to him. That is the qualification we want to develop for ourselves. Now, looking at these grades, because personally we cannot really see Supreme God with our senses right now, but the instructions which we practice for bhakti would be like a good advice and probably good methods and techniques to be used. Now,
Yes.
looking at all this, doesn't it mean that the relationship which we have been given, it's also the will of the God? It's not that I decide my parents and fathers, a mother, even though they are not doing Krishna bhakti like what I am doing. So I do I see, I mean, because I have to, because one of the quality of this surrender is to see the will of the God in all this situation. If you don't see that attitude, then probably the surrender is not the fulfillment. I mean, it's not fulfilled in my view. So knowing this, all these different types of relationship, does that not mean that our relationship towards all individual humans should enhance and become more and more better? You have anything to add? Like
yes, certainly, Prabhuji. So there's one thing that is lacking here in the relationships is, yes, you should have relationship with all living entities in Krishna consciousness.
Correct.
So you see your relationship with them not based on your bodily connection. You see your relationship with them in relation to Krishna. You can say, I am also a part of Krishna. My father is also part of Krishna. So therefore I must respect him. Not because I have become his son because of my own karma. That's correct. That's absolutely correct. You're saying this is arranged by Krishna. Yes, it is arranged by Krishna, but there is a difference. What I get, the body that I get and the family that I take birth in is the result of my karma. And in karma, there is no Krishna consciousness.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Whatever activities I did, the result of that activity is my body now. And this body I got in a particular family to particular parents. Why I got this situation? You're saying this is arranged by Krishna. Based on what? Based on my karma, which was not related to Krishna. It was not in Krishna consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, I would give... so is my father and mother more important than others because I'm born to them? Again, it comes back to the point that we were discussing in our last class about our adhikar. So if I don't have full faith in bhakti yet, then I still have to follow dharma. So all this comes under, dharma towards parents, dharma towards the demigods, towards the society. All this is dharma. We have to do that. Until what time? Until you get full surrender in Krishna. Until you get full shraddha, faith in Krishna. When you get full faith in Krishna, then you actually see no difference between your father, someone else's father, but you have utmost respect for everyone because you see them in relation to Krishna, parts and parcels of Krishna. But I don't have that yet. So yes, I can still carry out my duties in that way. But we should not...
Yeah, what I was also I was trying to measure, like how do we measure? Because people, what popularly happens is when we start doing bhakti, then we start looking at others people. Oh, he's not doing this, I will not go to his house. He's not eating this, I will not go to his house. I mean those are the things.
You should follow that way.
I see all the good leaders who have came in this world. They have always worked hard against the unfavorable circumstances. They did not look for favorable circumstances. Correct. Because they strengthen their mind and bhakti that no, if I have to, because the real platform is to practice, not at, I mean, of course, like-minded goes with like-minded easily. But if unlike-minded, how can you, that is where your strength is, right? To measure your bhakti. Otherwise, I mean, how do we, the way was, how can we measure? how to
You
measure
have
that?
to test, you have to check yourself how strong you are. So the
Yes.
point, the bottom line is, when you go in that association, you should not be affected by that association. Rather, you should be able to give your association to the other person. And certainly, only those who have taken risk, like Srila Prabhupada took risk. Instead of staying in Vrindavan, he came to America. He lived with hippies. He preached to them Krishna consciousness. He was not affected by them. Rather, he transformed them. But for him to do that, he had that much Krishna consciousness, power of bhakti in him. You see, so now this cannot be imitated. Now, if I already am coming from a background of sense gratification, and somehow I'm struggling now, it's easier for me to stay in the association of devotees. Then my mind won't go for, sense gratification, because I'm surrounded by these people. This keeps me sober. Then in that case, because I'm not so strong, for me it is better to avoid that type of influence and stay in the association of devotees. But those who are stronger in bhakti, and stronger in bhakti means the next step is naturally compassion, because they feel for the others why they are not coming to Krishna consciousness. So when they go there, it's not just to be nice. Even if I'm trying to be nice to them, the whole purpose is they should not have a bad opinion about the devotees of Krishna. They should know that we are also nice people. That means your whole motive is somehow or other bring them, let them have a positive understanding of Krishna consciousness. So for that purpose, you're taking risk. You're even going to such places. We have devotees who are doing that, who have done that. Like we have, recently His Grace Chaitanya Jivan Prabhu, left his body. So he would reach out to these people who would not come to temple, but he would go. He had a yoga center. So, but his whole idea is he's giving his association to those people.
Yes,
If a new person went there, or somebody who's not as strong went there, instead of giving his Krishna consciousness, his mind would become disturbed. So then it's not recommended for him. So you have to really see how strong you are. And you can even trial and error. You can try, go and see what is happening. Is it disturbing you, or it is having a positive? And just go as much as you can handle, right? You don't have to stay there long, just a little bit, so that you make your presence felt there, but also you're not influenced, and you come out like that. So you can test, trial and error, like that.
So that is where we can really measure our weakness. Okay, if we are strong enough in bhakti, we will be able to face the answer. And that is what I see. I always wrap my mind. I particularly take that as a challenge when I had to be in participation of unfavorable association. But I don't reject because it's unfavorable. I actually say to my mind, contemplate in my mind, this is the opportunity. I actually take it as a positive way.
That's actually very, very wonderful, Prabhuji. Not everyone is able to do that. I mean, I really appreciate that, but there is danger there. But if you are actually with that motive, you're going that, yes, this is an opportunity to face the challenge and come out of it with, use this as an opportunity to move forward in Krishna consciousness. It's more an internal struggle, isn't it? You have to learn tolerance. So yes, it will actually make you a better devotee. So but we cannot just say, everyone, you do this. We cannot say that, because different people have different strengths.
Right. No, okay. All right. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Yeah, we are way over time. Thank you so much, everyone. Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai. Thank you, Mother Archana Bhakti. And as you mentioned earlier, there is a Sunday school picnic Panihati festival going on today in Lums Park, Delaware, State Park in Delaware. I believe it starts at 10 a.m. and it'll go all the way through till about 3 p.m. This afternoon. Also in one of our sister temples in Delaware, Krishna Village, they're having their Kirtan Mela today, which I believe starts around noon and will go till 6 or so p.m. tonight. So everybody's welcome to attend these events, associate with devotees, chant the holy names, have some fun, have nice Krishna Prasadam. So hope to see you at one of those. If not, tomorrow morning for Srimad Bhagavatam class, 7:50. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Yeah. Vachakopatarubhischa Kripasinduvyavacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha.
Okay.
Wonderful class.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.